Hey, what's up? It's your boy Burf. And oh man, this is the day. This is the day you've all been waiting for. Over the last 3 or 4 years, I've literally had hundreds of people on the channel ask me, Burf, can we get a toy room tour? And I've put it off and I've put it off and I've put it off. But today is the day that I deliver the goods. I'm going to give you a full tour of my entire collection. Now, I'm just gonna show you everything that I have like on display. I do have a lot of things that are in boxes and stuff like that that we won't be able to really look at or go through, but I'm gonna show you some of the most favorite pieces in my collection. So I'm excited for this. I hope you're excited. If you are, hit the like button and then let's roll out.
My name is Burf and this is my turf. I'm straight out of the thrift store.
So I figured the first place we'd start is the first shelf that you would see as you walk into my toy room, which I so lovingly call the bunker. And this is what you'll see. So you can see that this shelf here actually has many layers to it. There are several shelving units. So we're just gonna kind of move through this first shelf and I'll show you what I got. So over here, you're gonna see my bootleg HeMan and Skeletor. I picked these guys up at the North Dallas Toy Show last year. The Skeletor has a glow-in-the-dark face, which I think is just freaking awesome. And I found this case, this glass case at a thrift store. So I shoved him in there. It's kind of like HeMan has him trapped, you know? So I've got these bootleg figures. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, you probably know by now I'm a huge Masters of the Universe fan. I played hardcore with these toys when I was a kid. I absolutely loved them and I still love them today. So they hold a very special place in my heart. I've got a lot of vintage figures, but anytime I find bootlegs or knockoffs, I usually pick them up because I just think they're really cool. And then I've got some Battle Trolls. These are some figures that I've picked up at yard sales and I have bought some at toy shows. And I didn't have any toys, any of these types of toys when I was a kid, these Battle Trolls. But as an adult, when I saw them, I was like, these things are freaking cool, man. So like I picked up a little handful of these guys. I've got Batman, Robin, and Soups over here. This Primal Age Batcave I found in a thrift store for $5. I ended up completing it for 30 bucks. I bought all the parts and pieces that go to it for $30 on eBay, so it is a complete one, even though you can't see everything on the inside. But I think it's freaking cool. These guys here, the Batman, I actually found in a thrift store. And then Mr. Freeze there, I picked him up at a local store for like 10 bucks. And I've got some more of the Primal Age figures here. So this is a really cool toy line, by the way, and I definitely want to add more to it. Now this over here, this Ewok hut, the Ewok family hut, I actually found it at the Goodie Wheel. There was one figure that came with it, and I'm trying to look to see if I can find her. It was a little girl Ewok, and I don't see her. She's around here somewhere. She may be on the back side. But I did end up, oh, here she is, right here. She's right in front. So I picked up that little one there. I think that's a girl. I don't know. Maybe it's a boy. But it was actually inside the tree, and I got it for like a few bucks. But when I got it, I was like, man, I gotta like get all the pieces and accessories to it. So I started buying some. They're not cheap, so it's not complete, but I was able to put a good bit of it together. So I bought the rest of these Ewoks and all the little, you know, accessories and stuff like that you see with it on eBay. So that is the first shelf. Let's move down here to this shelf. This is a really fun shelf and some figures that I did not have, again, as a kid, but own as an adult. I've got this mask, some of the mask figures. You'll see a few of them. There's a couple here in the very back. And then I've got the Toxic Crusaders. And there's some Dick Tracy here as well. And then some of my favorite figures are the Beetlejuice figures. I love this line. I need more vehicles though. The only vehicle I have is this thing back here, and I picked it up at a toy show. here in Dallas last year sometime. And then I think this line right here is a really underrated line, these Dick Tracy figures. I got this entire lot on eBay. Like all the figures that you see here, I got the whole lot for $30. So this is a really affordable toy line in my opinion. And it's a really cool one. I mean, I love these. We had some of these as a kid. I remember when the movie came out, and my brother and I did end up getting a few of these figures, but it was like early 90s, and I was like, you know, kind of transitioning out of toys. So I think I had the Dick Tracy, and I also had the Big Boy Capri there. So, and then we've got Maxwell Smart here. I found him in a thrift store. Here's some little pencils. I love little things like that, you know, little pencil toppers. And then we've got some carded figures. These carded figures from Dick Tracy are really affordable as well. You can usually pick them up for about 10 to 15 bucks on card. And then we've got these guys. So a couple thermoses. It's funny, I actually already had a thermos, and then one of my friends was selling one on eBay, or not eBay, on Instagram in a claim sale. And I ended up buying a second one, not realizing that I already had a Dick Tracy thermos. So now I got two of them. That's cool. And then this here, these walkie-talkies, these were actually gifted to me by one of my subscribers. So I've, you know, some of the stuff here in the collection has been gifted to me, but most of it has either been bought on eBay, toy stores, or toy shows, and or thrift stores. So here is my real Ghostbusters collection. This whole shelf is really just dedicated to the real Ghostbusters. Last summer, my friend Thrifter Sean came across a very massive lot of real Ghostbusters toys at the thrift store, and he sent me a text and he's like, bro, you got to get over here. Somebody dumped their entire collection at the thrift store. So I raced over there. He got the majority of it, but I was able to pick up a handful of things. Like, for example, this ghost right here. I think this orange one, the yellow one back there was gifted to me. This blue one right here was also in the lot, this guy. And there's some other stuff down below on the other shelves that I'll show you here in a little bit that I picked up. I got one of those Cinemark popcorn buckets with Slimer, and it's so awesome. I freaking love that thing. I know that they have been releasing, you know, reproductions of this line over the last few years. Mainly, most of the stuff that's been released has just been the Ghostbusters themselves, with the exception of like some ghosts like this one right here, the one-eyed ghost, and the fearsome flush, which is over here. That is a vintage one, by the way. But I'd like to see them, if they're going to continue to release them, I'd like to see them release more ghosts. The ghosts are the coolest part of the collection, in my personal opinion, of the line. So we've got these guys over here. This Proton Blaster, this the little popper, that was one I actually found at the thrift store that Thrifter Sean told me about. So we've got these guys here, and then if we come down here, this is part of my TMNT collection. So we'll shine some light here in the back in a second. But these are the figures that I've got. And you can see there's quite a few of them. They're all just kind of mishmashed in there together. And there's really no rhyme or reason on how I, you know, display them. I just try to shove them in there and make room for them as best I can as I get them. I have a lot of overflow, which you'll see in a little bit out in the front room. I've got an area where I've got a lot of extras that are just piled up in little buckets. So let me show you some of these guys here in the back. There we go. All we needed was a little light. So this little piece back here, this diorama piece, is just like one of those fish tank dioramas that you buy, you know, for your fish. I love those little diorama pieces because like they fit in so well with so many different action figure lines. So I figured this line of TMNT with the samurai stuff, this diorama piece would go really well with that. So I actually found these guys here in a thrift store. Same with these over here. Now I think these horses are more of I think they're the modern reproduction ones. I don't think they're vintage, but I did find them in a thrift store, which I thought was really cool. So man, it's like, I would say probably what you're looking at here, about 40% of what you're looking at was found in a thrift store. Like, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the scores are out there, my friends. And there's a lot of TMNT that actually show up in the thrift stores. So, and I got this party wagon over here as well. We got Casey Jones and the Shredder, and then we've got a foot soldier. So this is just a really fun line. My friend Keith actually found that yo-yo and gave it to me, which is a really cool yo-yo. I actually have a Frisbee that has that exact same design that I found in a thrift store. So this is my TMNT line. And then down below here, we've got a little mixture of robots, Transformers, and GoBots. So, and this is just part of them. I have so much stuff, guys, that like I can't display everything, unfortunately. But here we've got some GoBots in the front row. I do have an Optimus Prime, a G1 Prime. That is a G1 Starscream. I've got some Rock Lords back here, some more GoBots. And this Bumblebee is a vintage one. And I remember, like, I had that as a kid, and I loved that little vehicle. So we also have down here, we've got Omega Supreme, which I found in a thrift store lot. It was like one of those, I think it was one of those big boxes that oh no, this was actually a bag. He was actually in a bag, and which was crazy. And he was in a bag with a bunch of other Transformers and GoBots and stuff like that. So here's some more. This is a modern Ghostbusters toy. We've got some Dinobots. These were both gifted to me. Some more GoBots over here. I got this awesome GoBots case that I bought at a toy show from one of my Goody Wheel Gang members, Nick. So I do have, let's see if we can open this up a little bit, get this out of the way. And here are more of my GoBots. You can see I got a Psykill. Let's pull him out. He's one of my favorites. I think his motor is back in here somewhere. Yeah. So I do have a complete Psykill. And this is where some of my more favorite GoBots are. It's kind of funny because they're in here, but you can't see them. You would think I would want to have them all on display. But there's my Crasher. Let's pull that one out. This one was in pretty good shape. Normally with Crasher, you see the stickers all peeling off, but this one was in really, really good shape. And so I got that. Here's Leader 1 down here. And wings are all folded down. So there's my Leader 1. I actually have a variant. There is the gray one, and then there's the blue variant. That's Copter right there, one of my favorite GoBots as well. So I got a nice little GoBots collection. And Nick, thank you for the deal on the case, by the way, and helps protect my GoBots. So this Slimer hand puppet was actually found in that big lot that I got from Thrifter Sean. I can't really move that out of the way or it's gonna knock stuff over. There's another Proton Blaster. And then let's move this forward. And I got some RoboForce. I actually have a picture of me as a child with this RoboForce Max Steel. I got it for my birthday one year, and it was such a cool gift. I love robots. And then I've got some more over here. Like I said, I can't really move stuff out of the way too much or I'll knock everything over, and I don't want to do that. Found this dude. He's actually a phone. Found him in a thrift store, and I repainted him. But yeah, this is my GoBots, Transformers, and Robot collection. Here's another piece that I found in the thrift store. So let's move over to the next shelf here in just a second. This is a reproduction. This is the Classics line, I guess they call it, the Real Ghostbusters Classics line. I picked this up. I think I got this on clearance at Walmart. There's a Proton pack that I picked up from Thrifter Sean. I actually bought that off. I mean, he gave me a good deal on it. I think he only charged me $10 for it. So he was it was part of the line, or part of the big haul that we got out of that one thrift store, which is called Plaza Thrift. Well, it's actually, no, it's just called The Thrift Store. We found it at The Thrift Store. That's the name of the thrift store. So let's move over to the next shelf. This is my Dragon's Lair collection. I bet a lot of you didn't even know that they actually made toys from the Dragon's Lair line. I've had a lot of people tell me that over the years when they see these figures. They're like, oh my God, I didn't even know those figures existed. And I didn't know they existed just a few years ago either. I just decided one day to go to eBay and type in Dragon's Lair figures, and these guys popped up. So I've got Dirk the Daring over here. I've got this lunchbox. I loved this lunchbox when I was a kid. One of my friends had this in school, and I loved it. I never owned it. But as I became an adult, I was like, I gotta have that in my life, man. So this is Singe. He's pretty hard to find. He doesn't pop up on eBay all that often, but he is a super, super cool figure. And then we've got the beautiful Daphne here in the back. She's popping, man. She's popping. So we've got some Dragon's Lair figures here. And then down below, I've got the Droid Factory. All the pieces to the Droid Factory are actually in a bag in the closet. But you can see I just kind of got a little mishmash of things here. Here are some Lego pieces I recently found in a thrift store, so I decided to keep those. These C3POs here in the back. This one, and then this one over here, both found in a thrift store. So he's another one that pops up quite a bit. I think I have like 4 or 5 3POs from the thrift store. So let's move down to this shelf. So this shelf mainly consists of my garbage pail stuff and PacMan. So I had this plush as a kid, but mine was blue. My brother had the green one, but he popped up at a toy show, so I grabbed him. I definitely want to get a blue one at some point with a blue shirt. And we've got this Garbage Pail Kids book. Here's some little wind-up PacMan figures. Found these guys recently at a thrift store, these little vehicles. Got a little wind-up Godzilla over here. He's really cool. When you turn him on, he actually has like sparks that fly out of his mouth. And then over here, we got these cards. They came with the two little cars down here. But this Atom Bomb, I picked him up off of eBay along with this Tacky Snapper. I don't know if you guys remember those at all, but let's see if we can get a good look at it here. It's basically, you hold it in your hand and you fling it at the wall or whatever, and it sticks to it. You know, if there's like papers on a desk, you can slap it down like a whip and grab the papers and pull them towards you and stuff like that. So just some fun stuff. Here's some more PacMan PVC. And then down below here, we've got some more Masters of the Universe stuff. This is more of the Origin line. There's also some other things mixed in here, like these little Dollar Tree figures and some Mega Constructs. So this is only part of my Origins collection. The rest of it is actually in a box Again, I don't have a whole lot of room to display stuff, so unfortunately right now the rest of them are in boxes. Now this little Castle Grayskull thing, I actually made this myself. So I found this castle. It was actually painted gray, so it was a gray plastic. And I grabbed it and I thought, oh, you know what? I've got all these little Dollar Tree He-Man figures. They need a home. They need a castle to defend. They need a Castle Grayskull to defend. And I decided to turn it into Grayskull. So each one of these little stones in here were all individually glued into place. It took me hours and hours and hours. It took me about a week and a half working maybe 2 to 3 hours at a time, just kind of placing the rocks and then painting them. And then I got a little a little peat moss to put around it and stuff like that. So I thought it turned out okay. The eyes on the castle did not turn out the way I was kind of hoping they would. In my imagination, it looked a lot better than that, but I still think it's neat. So I do have some Origins here on display. And then down below here, we've got this stuff. I've got some Brave Star, I've got some Black Star, and I've got some Dukes of Hazzard, baby. So the Brave Star figure, again, found them in a thrift store. Same with the Stagecoach, found it in a thrift store as well. And purchased these guys here on eBay. So I do have this really cool He-Man 110 camera in the background. Let me grab that and get a little closer look at it. So I came across this one day when I was hunting for some vintage Motu on eBay, and this thing popped up and I was like, oh my God, I have got to have that camera. I paid up for this thing. I think I paid $150 for it back in 2020. So I don't know what it's worth now. I don't know if I actually overpaid for it. It was the only one on eBay at the time, so I grabbed it, and I just think it's really amazing. I mean, check that out. It's like it's a camera in the shape of Castle Grayskull. I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than that. So I got this, and then also I do love me some Dukes of Hazzard. So I've got most of the figures. I don't have Roscoe, I don't have Enos, and I don't have Cooter. So I got to get those guys. But this Uncle Jesse is a brown beard variant. I believe he does have a white beard as well, but I've got the brown beard variant. And picked up this generally on eBay a couple years back, about 3 years ago probably. Found this Duke's diecast. I don't know if it's made by Hot Wheels or Matchbox, but found it in a thrift store. And got this police car. Got these little penny car wind-ups, which are really cool as well. And then also found this Dixie Challenger in a thrift store. So here's a little better look, a little better lighting for my Black Star figures here as well. I do have one other one. I think he's in a box. I need to dig through the box and find him and bring him out here to put him on display. But Black Star was a cool cartoon. I actually found a VHS of it not too long ago, and I really enjoyed rewatching a couple of episodes on that VHS. So I'd like to find more of those and dive into that cartoon series a little further. Here is a Yogi Bear plush from 1958 that I picked up from St. Vinny de Paul a couple of summers ago. And this Yogi Bear magic slate that I picked up at a place called Picker's Paradise over in Garland. And then I've got Ram Man here on the back on card. He's in Origins. And let me show you these two Dick Tracy figures. So we've got this figure, which is named the Tramp. And then we've got this figure down here, which is named the Tramp. Now, if you'll notice, they're two completely different figures. Why is that? Well, from my understanding, this figure here was actually, this was the first release. And this was kind of controversial because apparently people thought that somehow the way the figure was dressed, it was making fun of hobos. and there was kind of an uproar about it. So Playmates decided to change the look of the figure and give him like a suit and tie versus making him look like a street bum. So, I mean, that's my understanding of it. I don't know if that's an actual true story, but that's what I've heard. Because at first, when I got this figure, I was like the Tramp, and then I saw this one at a toy show, and I was like, oh, they put the wrong guy, and I'm gonna buy that because it's like an error. Turns out it's not an error. It was just that they had changed the look of the figure. I found this Mad Ball. It's not a vintage one, unfortunately, but it's made by Kid Robot. I did find it at the Goodie Wheel a few years back, so I love that thing. And then I got some real Ghostbusters. This is Ecto 3. And then I got this little race car over here. I also found these at Goodwill as well. These are modern. I just thought they were really cool. And they are Garbage Pail Kids, like Lollipop Dispensers. So I just love the colors of them. Very vibrant. And it's Garbage Pail Kids, so how can you go wrong? Also got a viewfinder over here. Got this Orco cup that Nicole got me. And then I got this vintage baseball game. Up next, I've got this TMNT sewer play set. This set is from a few years ago. I found it at Goodwill earlier this year. I think I paid $7 for it. And then I picked up a bunch of these Mutant Mayhem figures, which, I mainly stick to vintage TMNT, but I haven't even seen the movie for this yet, guys. So I really don't know anything about, these particular characters and whatnot, like in that specific movie. But I was just like, oh man, these things are pretty cool looking. So I definitely wanted to collect these. So I ended up picking up a bunch of Mutant Mayhem over the course of a few weeks. I mean, they were fairly cheap, right? I think they're like $10 a figure, which, I can handle. It's when you start to see figures that get into the $20, $25, $30, $35 range. That's where I start to complain a little bit about pricing. So, but I will spend $10 on a figure for sure. So I think that's a fair price. But this sewer play set is just freaking awesome, man. It's so detailed, so many cool things with it. And then, oh no, Leo has fallen over. We gotta fix him. There we go. All right, so, but yeah, check this out. I mean, how awesome is this? I mean, as a kid, you could sit here and play with this thing for hours and hours on end. We got some turtles down here. This is like a cake topper. I found it in a thrift store. I thought it was just kind of fun to put right here in the sewer play set. We got these little tiny turtles over here. All right, up next we have my Star Wars collection. So Star Wars was another line of toys that I was into big time as a kid. And I had just about every single character figure that you could imagine. I had them all. And my parents were really good to us. Every payday we would go to the store, go shopping at the mall, and my mom would always buy us a handful of Star Wars figures. But I got this Ewok treehouse. I picked it up at an estate sale 3 summers ago for $35, and it was pretty much fully complete. The only thing it was missing was this railing right here, and I ended up buying that on eBay for a few bucks. I think it was like maybe like $10. So I was able to get it complete. But yeah, we've got the whole barbecue pit scene going on over here, and then you can see 3PO there in the back. I remember getting this as an early Christmas present when I was a kid, because my parents had purchased it and they hid it in the basement way. So as you go down the stairs, there was like a little loft area where my mom had a bunch of boxes and stuff stacked, and she had placed this over there. And as I went down the stairs, I made eye contact with the box, but the box was upside down. So I didn't really know what it was. I just thought it was a big weird box at first. I'm like, I don't remember seeing that box there before. And ended up kind of turning my head upside down to look at it and realized it said Return of the Jedi on it. And I just like freaked out. And then I like begged her to give it to us as an early Christmas present. So I ended up getting it like in November that year. But I got this X-Wing fighter. I got it on Facebook Marketplace for like $5. Some lady was selling it. I got this ATST. Like, it's not vintage or anything like that, but I thought it would go well with the scene here. And then we got Chewie and Han and another 3PO. You can see I got a lot of 3POs. And here are some other figures that I have that are not, you know, these are more modern figures, but I just got them over here on the shelf. I got this Jabba the Hutt mug. We'll get to the Getalong gang in a little bit. We're actually focusing on Star Wars at the moment. So here is some more of my collection. You can see this is another fish tank diorama. I thought it would make a cool Yoda's, you know, Dagobah house, you know, his little hut that he was in. So this is my favorite version of Yoda of all the different versions. This one here was actually my second favorite, but some of the Yoda figures, the molds that they make for him are so ugly. This one here was from episode 1. It was an episode 1 figure, and I felt like they did a pretty good job of keeping it fairly similar to the original Yoda from, you know, the New Hope, or I'm sorry, Empire Strikes Back Yoda. So, and then all of these Tauntauns, every single one of them found in a thrift store. And I've got Luke and Han, and then I got a Hoth Trooper. For the longest time, I thought this was Luke, and it's not Luke. It's just a Hoth Trooper. And then we've got a bunch of figures here in the back. You can see my Leia is missing. It's missing her gun, and she's also missing her robe. So a lot of my collection is incomplete. These Bespin Leias are variants. One has a turtleneck and one does not. That's just something I learned recently. The one on the left has a turtleneck and the one on the right doesn't. So I've got some of the bounty hunters over there in the back. Another 3PO. And then we got Farm Boy Luke with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then we've got the skiff. How cool is this thing? That is not a vintage skiff. It is a reproduction. But all of those figures up there are all vintage. And then over here we've got, oh, by the way, the Land Speeder I got for 99 cents at Goodwill. And then I picked up the Cloud Car at a local toy shop. Now we're going to get into Jabba's lair. So here are my Jabba's Palace figures. I figured we'd start here with Jabba himself, the big guy. Man, he was a boss, wasn't he? He was one of my favorite characters from Return of the Jedi. I absolutely love that entire opening scenes, all those opening scenes with Jabba at the palace and the Rancor monster and all the hoodlums that were hanging out there. So this is a Fontmon. He's actually from the Clone Troopers line, or not Clone Troopers, Clone Wars line. But I remember seeing him in the palace, but they never made an original figure for him. So when the Clone War line came out, I picked him up and just added him into the mix with the rest of these vintage figures because I feel like he belongs with them. So we do have the Rancor monster. We've got the Rancor Keeper. We've got Squid Face or Squid Head or whatever his name is, and Prune Face or Prune Head. I can't remember what their names are, but we've got those guys as well. Got a Gamorrean guard back here. Got a Leia in her Bausch disguise. That one there does not have, that one is incomplete. I think I found her in a thrift store, but she is over here complete. And I ended up picking her up on eBay. And there's Han frozen in carbonite. We've got some more Gamorrean guards, R2-D2. This Amonamon, my friend Russell Banky, goes by Patriot Banky here on YouTube. He gifted that to me along with some other last 17 Star Wars figures, which was an incredible gift. So Patriot, Banky Russell, buddy, if you're watching, thank you so much. We got a yak face here in the back. That is a reproduction. That is not an original. I wish it was. And then we've got Max Rebo and the Max Rebo Band. Cy Snoodles. We got Droopy McCool back there. And this Max Rebo, I actually found this one in a thrift store. And then we've got another Bib Fortuna. This was actually in a collection that I bought off of another friend of mine. His name's Patrick. And he's the guy I bought the USS Flag off of, and the Defiant and all that stuff. And this Bib Fortuna was actually in that collection. So, whoops, I'm knocking some stuff over. So yeah, this is the Jabbas Palace collection. The other, I was going to show you this. The other last 17 figure is this guy back here in the purple. I can't remember what his name was. That was another one that Russell gifted to me. I picked that Lando up for $17 at a flea market. And then also Russell gifted me this Ewok as well. So we got a nice little collection of Star Wars going on here. I got a Trapper Keeper there in the back. And then up above, I've got the Darth Vader carrying case that I picked up for $4 at a yard sale. And I got a plush Ewok that my brother gifted me, and then some other figures that I found in thrift stores. I'm not a big fan of Power of the Force. I did like the look of those ones though, so I did pick those up. And I did end up picking up some of these retro collection Star Wars figures when they originally came out. Now, these Getalong gang figures are all mixed in here because I don't have any room, and it was the only place I could actually put them, or else I would give them a shelf all to themselves. But I don't know if you guys remember the Getalong gang from back in the day, but this is the clubhouse caboose. And I picked all of these figures up on eBay. A few of them I did find in thrift stores, but for the most part, they were all eBay purchases. I loved the Getalong gang when I was a kid, and I have every single figure, little PVC figure that they came out with. So, and then I got this guy over here. This is an old tin toy, and Dapper Dan. And he actually does work. When he winds up, he dances. Over here, I've got some Transformers Pretenders. I've picked a few of these up over the years. I think they're pretty cool. And then down below here, I got some of these like D&D knockoff type figures. They're from the 1980s. I can't remember what they're called, but thought they were pretty neat. And then I've got my Silverhawks collection. The Bluegrass in the back, I actually found him in a thrift store and got him for a couple of bucks. But the one up front here is in pretty minty condition. And same with the Copper Kid. I don't have all of them just because I'm waiting to get ones that are like super, super minty. And the chrome on these guys wears off pretty good. So a lot of times when I see them on eBay, they've got a lot of wear and tear, and I'm just not gonna pull the trigger on that. I'm gonna wait until I get one that is in pristine condition. So I still have several more to collect in this line. And then down here I've got Billy Blastoff. He is a figure from the 1960s that I found at the Goodwill towards the end of last year. And I think he's really cool. There's a whole bunch of little figures in this line. The Billy Blastoff himself is kind of expensive. He's about $70 to $90 depending on condition on eBay. So at some point, maybe I'll pull the trigger on that. But for right now, these Billy Blastoff figures are perfect. So here's a few modern toys that I have. I got some of these Gas House Gang figures that I picked up at Ollie's. It was either Ollie's or Five Below. It was one of the two, but I thought they were really neat. They were kind of part of those gross out toys that we all loved as kids. You know, these are modern toys, but I just had to have them. And I also got this little bubblegum machine that I put some of these football helmets in. They're a mixture of modern and vintage football helmets. I mean, you can see, like, you know, I've got a Houston Oilers helmet in there, so you know that's vintage. Oh, Warren Moon with the Houston Oilers, you know. I think he was the league's first black quarterback. And yeah, so I got a little bubblegum machine for some nostalgic purposes. So oftentimes you guys see these toys in the background of my show and tells. And, you know, the stuff I pick up in the thrift stores or Ross or wherever I get it, when I do the show and tell, those figures are always at the forefront of the video. And these are just kind of background figures, but I thought I'd take a moment and just show you what's on my desk. So I got this Boss Hog. I got him on eBay for $2. He was busting up into all, I mean, his arms and his legs and his head and his body were all detached, and I got him in an auction for $2. And then my friend Keith said, I can fix him up for you. So we met at the Allen antique store, and Keith performed surgery out in the parking lot and fixed up Boss Hog. So now he's perfect. So he is a Mego figure. These figures here in the back, the Spider-Man, the Joker, and then also the Doc Ock. People ask me all the time, Burf, are you willing to sell those or trade those? And the answer is no, I am not. I think they're too awesome. I absolutely love them, so I have no interest in trading or selling any of them. Now, one of the things you will notice, like during the show and tells, is that oftentimes the stuff, the toys in the background change. I do switch out these toys quite often, usually every week. You know, I'm pulling something out and putting it on the shelf or on the table here, and then putting the other stuff back. And I don't know, just every once in a while, or, you know, every week or so, I want to switch it up. Now, some things are permanent, you know, like the Doc Ock and the Spider-Man, the bootleg Homers and stuff like that. They're constantly in the background, but I do change out some of these other things. Here's the beer drinking Smurf. Isn't that funny? Isn't that awesome that, like, back in the 80s, they gave us a beer drinking Smurf? I mean, how freaking cool is that? 80s kids rock. And then I've got these figures and stuff, things up here, cassette tapes. This is a radio that plays cassette tapes, which I thought was really cool. So I've got these, and let me show you this guy here. So check this dude out. This is a figure from a line called Warriors of the Universe. His name is Red Mort, and he's actually made by a local guy here in Texas. He actually has an entire line of these figures, all different sculpts and everything. Like, they do an excellent, excellent job. So I got this at a local toy store that has since gone out of business. And the original price tag was $60, but because they were going out of business, everything was like 50% off. So I got them for like $30. They had some other figures that day. I really wish I would have had the extra money to buy more of them, because they really are an epic line. And then up here, I've got this Fantastic Four figure, High Evolutionary. And I've got some more of these guys on the wall behind me. Here's some more figures from that line. These are all the ones that came out at Walmart. Some of these I actually picked up at Ross during the Christmas season. So it's kind of hard to get back there behind the TV, but you get the point. I've got some Mighty Max over here. And I actually did a trade with a guy on these, guy from Canada. And he wanted the Jurassic 93 series that came out at Target, because apparently they weren't selling them in Canada. And he's like, dude, if you'll pick me up this, and this, I'll send you all my Mighty Max stuff. I was like, deal. So he told me that it's about $400 in value with these Mighty Max figures. But how cool are these? And most of them are complete. Most of them have the figures and the little accessories and stuff that go with them. I actually found this at a thrift store. I found it at a Goodie Wheel, of all places. Walked in there one day and found this Mighty Max mountain playset and a bag full of figures. Like, it was awesome. And then I got these RoboCop knockoff guys. They do talk. Let me see if the batteries are still working in them. All right, so you can see he's got all these little buttons on the back of him. They've got a telephone. That's funny. It's like a death ray. So you can see he makes a lot of different noises, but I thought these guys were cool. Again, just found them in a thrift store. So we've got some more Mighty Max here. I've got this Pee Wee Herman figure that I picked up at Target. This talking doll over here, I actually picked him up the day before Pee Wee died. Like the day before, the guy was selling him on a Facebook marketplace for 50 bucks. The day that he died, I went and looked on eBay and people were trying to sell him for like 250, and some people were actually buying him at that price. I think the prices have since come back down, but yeah, I got him for 50 bones. And then picked this figure up on Instagram from a guy doing a claim sale. Got him for like $20. And then I did order some figures off of eBay as well. So I've got my little gaming system set up over here, my little analog TV. I've got some Mario stuff to go with my Nintendo. And then down here, some starting lineup figures. And then, you know, I've got these droid figures here in the back. I got my Sega Master System and my Sega Genesis. And you guys know that I went in kind of heavy over Christmas and the first part of this year on this particular HeMan line. I'm really digging this line, so I've been collecting as much of it as I can. Just recently picked up this Castle Grayskull and the Point Dread. And then over here, we've got some vintage HeMan. That is a Point Dread, vintage Point Dread. And then we've got the Sky, not the Sky Sled, the, oh my gosh, Wind Raider. So we got the Wind Raider. Man, I love these figures here. These Imperial Dragons, these monsters. They are so cool. They go so well with your HeMan figures. And then we got some more vintage here. I got the Snake Mountain playset at Target for $21 on clearance. And then check out these Masters of the Universe color forms. How amazing is that artwork? It is just so freaking cool. All right, guys. And then over here, we've got a bunch of smalls. Here are some figures that I've picked up over the years. Down here we've got some Richie Rich there in the background. How cool are those? We got some Fraggle Rock, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck. Here is my Raisin collection. I just picked up a few more of these guys today at a local flea market that I didn't have. And then down here, we've got some wind-up toys of Alvin and the Chipmunks. We've got some Muppet Babies, some Pound Puppies, some Mickey D's toys. We got the Bambi set there. And then there's Shaggy and Fred in the back. Here is my Snorks collection. And then down here, I was going to see if any of you guys remember this, but who remembers the Paw Paw Bears? So these are Paw Paw Bears. I don't know if anybody remembers those, but I loved that cartoon when I was a kid. And I came across these on eBay and purchased a few of them. I'd like to get some more. I do have some wind-up Smurfs there in the back. You can see Gargamel and Papa Smurf kind of poking his head out there. But yeah, those Paw Paw Bears. Comment below if you remember the Paw Paw Bears. And then we've got this Sentinel. If you guys remember that massive mother load of vintage toys that Keith and I picked up a couple years back, this Sentinel was in there, and he was actually missing his feet. So he was incomplete, and it took almost a year for those feet to pop up on eBay. And when they did, I bought them for like 25 bucks and slapped them on there, on that guy, and now he's complete. So I ended up, you know, getting a really good score that day. I think we scored like over 400 action figures in that haul. Here's some more stuff in my collection, just some of my muscle. I've got a lot more on the shelf above. I'll show you in just a moment. And we've got some army ants. Who remembers army ants, man? I went through a little phase of those as a kid, collecting those, playing with them. They were a lot of fun. And then we've got this playset. I don't even remember what line this playset is from, but it is just super cool. I got it at Goodwill. And then over here, we've got Alfred E. Newman. We've got the box. It was a box that was filled with trading cards, which is what I have in here now. And that, yes, that is a G1, a version 1 Garbage Pail Kids sealed pack. Go check out what that costs now on eBay. So I've got one of those, never opened. So I've got that. Here's some Indiana Jones cards that my Goodwill gang member Scott Vaudreuil, I think that's how you say his last name. Anyway, Scott got those for me as a gift, which I thought were cool. And then let me show you these Flintstones. I'm going to move a few things out of the way here. So earlier this year, it's either earlier this year or at the end of last year, I ended up finding these Flintstone figures from the movie. I found them at Goodwill, and I got them for like $3 a piece. And look, they still have the original Kmart sticker on them for $9.99. I also got some of these vintage Mego Planet of the Apes figures, which my buddy Keith turned me on to. He's a big Mego guy. So I got these figures here. This wallet right here is actually a wallet that I had as a kid. This is one of the few things that survived from my childhood. So this is actually a wallet that I think I had when I was like 8 years old. And for some reason, my mom kept it all these years, and she sent it to me not too long ago. And of course, you guys remember when I picked this up, at least most of you do. The new subscribers might not, but the veterans on the channel know exactly what I'm talking about. So I had purchased a USS Flag and a Defiant and a whole bunch of other 80s toys off of a local guy named Patrick, and I got them for everything for like $700, and I was able to flip those items to get enough money to buy a Shogun Godzilla and a Clash of the Titans Kraken, which I'll show you here in just a moment. But yeah, how awesome is this? So basically, by buying that stuff and flipping it, I was able to get this guy without spending my own money. So it was almost like getting him for free. So his lever is still intact, and he's got this awesome tongue. Check that out. So cool. And his fist does work. So I had this as a kid, and it has been on my grail list for quite some time. I've talked about it forever and a day. And earlier this year, back in January, I was able to make my grail dreams come true. So I got him, and I also got the Clash of the Titans Kraken. As you can see, I've got this little diorama set up with all these fish tank dioramas. I'm keeping everything close to the ground because the last thing I want this guy to do is fall off the top shelf. So I will probably always keep him low to the ground because he is extremely fragile. And even if he fell like on a soft carpet, he would probably break. So, but this thing is absolutely stunning. I mean, look at that. I can't believe I own this thing. Like, this was definitely a long time grail piece for me, one that I've wanted for a long time. So it was so thrilling when I actually made the dream come true. So I picked up this Cyclops at Jaden's Toys back in December. I paid like $5 for him. He was having a big clearance sale, and I thought he would go well with the Clash of the Titans figures. So we've got Perseus down here and the rest of the gang. So sailing on this little barge down the river Styx. And this guy here, I found him at a thrift store as well. And I can't remember what line he is from, but he's like a Cyclops or a Triclops or something. He's got like an eye in the middle of his forehead there. So, but check this out. Oh yeah, and this little guy here, right? Oh my gosh, what was the little owl's name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Maybe you guys can help me out. But actually, there was a guy that makes these on eBay. And one of my subscribers was telling me about it. And I went and picked him up. I think I paid like $20 for him or something like that. But he's perfect. He's perfect for the line. He's perfectly scaled for the Clash of the Titans figures. So I am just... This is one of my favorite pieces in the whole collection, that's for sure. Another line that I absolutely love is my Rambo collection. And I might be mistaken, but I think I've got every figure in the line. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they're all complete, but I think I've got every figure that they made. If I am missing one, please let me know in the comments below. But how cool are these guys? The majority of these actually came from Patrick, the guy that I bought the USS Flag off of. So I had bought these from him first, like a year prior to buying the flag. And then he contacted me about the flag. And then I got some Captain Power figures there in the back on card. That's another fairly inexpensive line to collect. Especially loose, but even on card, I think they're like $20, $25 on card, so they're not too terribly priced, you know. So if someone wanted to jump into getting into collecting vintage toys, Captain Power would be a good place to start because it's not very expensive. Here you're looking at my Thundercats collection. This is a pretty extensive line. There's quite a few figures in this line, and I've got a good bit of them, but I still need to get more. None of my figures are really complete. I think I might have, like even this Lino right here, he's missing the little battery pack that makes his eyes light up. But how cool are these figures, man? I love this line. I love this cartoon as a kid. I used to play Thundercats all the time. HeMan and Thundercats and G.I. Joe. Those were the three main things we played as a kid. You know, we'd kind of role play as the different characters and stuff like that. But yeah, I do love my Thundercats line. Here we've got some mask figures. And most of these were found in a thrift store, believe it or not. I think there might be like the boxed Piranha there in the back and the loose vehicle up on top. Like there's one in the box and then I got a loose one. Those ones were purchased on eBay, but the rest of these were either gifted to me or found in a thrift store. So the only other one that I actually bought, I bought it off a subscriber of mine, was this one. I purchased the Stinger off of him. And he'd actually found these in a thrift store and sent me a picture of them. It was like, Burf, check these out. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. I had that Stinger as a kid. I need that in my life. And he gave me a good deal on it. So yeah, so this is the only other one that I paid like, you know, a decent amount of money for, because it wasn't like he was, you know, he gave it to me at the price of what it cost him in a thrift store. He charged a little and made a little money on it. But it wasn't like, you know, getting these figures here, which, you know, this vehicle I paid $1 for. This van I paid $1 for. You know what I mean? So, but still, this thing is just so badass, man. I freaking love it. Here's my Guts collection. And you guys have heard me talk about Guts on several occasions on the channel. I love Guts, man. Summer 1986, this is all I played with. I mean, like, these guys, even they took over my G.I. Joes even. Like, I played with Guts all summer long. This was my thing, man. And I've got them all. I've got them all. I don't have all the vehicles. The vehicles can be kind of expensive. There's another vehicle. It's like I think like a troop transport or something like that. It's like 150 or 180 bucks. I got this boxed vehicle back here in an auction for like $35. So I got a pretty good deal on that. But yeah, these are my Guts collection. And then up above here, we've got my Definitely Dinosaurs collection, which I've showed you guys on many occasions. Love this line, especially the Cavesters. The T-Rexes are probably my favorite in the line, but the dinosaurs overall I think are cool. But man, these Cavesters are so awesome. My buddy Andy Simpson, we did a trade for these guys here in the back Let me see if I can get this out without knocking stuff over. I think it's even got a KB's Toys sticker on it, if I remember. No, it's not KB's Toys. It's just some random toy. But yeah, made by Play School. And you rarely see these guys carded. And I think you picked these up in a thrift store as well. And we ended up doing a trade on it. So here is some of my Godzilla and Ray Harryhausen figures. So this is a Ray Harryhausen Cyclops over here. And then this one back here. And then there is like another monster behind this Kong. Let me see if I can move this Kong out of the way without knocking things over. Yeah, there we go. Check him out. So now we gotta see if we can put Kong back without knocking stuff over. Oh no. There we go. All right, well, there we go. He fell, and now we got him back on the shelf. So yeah, these are some of my monster figures. And then over here, we've got my vintage Indiana Jones line. So I got the Kenner line and the Galoob. And check these guys out. Now, these guys are not complete. They are missing some pieces. I would like to try and complete these figures one day. I had these figures as a kid. I did not have any of the Kenner stuff. So I do have the Well of Souls. And for the most part, it's complete, minus maybe like 6 or 7 snakes. I think there were like 12 snakes that came with it in all. But for the most part, the rest of it is there. And there's old Belloc in his ritual garments. And we've got Tote. And a big old snake. We all know Indiana hates snakes, right? And that tote back there, that is an original vintage tote on card. So we've got these figures, man. I just like, again, just love this line, man. It's like, it's kind of hard to believe that this line did not do very well back in the 80s, because it is a pretty awesome line of toys. So I told you that I had some more muscle, and here they are. So I've got these James Bond cake topper toys here in the back, but I do have the muscle wrestling ring. Got that, and I've got several figures, and I even have the little trash cans that they came in. I like to get a sealed trash can. That would be awesome. That still has like the muscle label on it. But I did pick up these cans off of eBay. And then we've got some killer tomatoes over here. How awesome are these things? Oh my God. Sometimes when I look at my stuff, I just can't believe that I own it. You know what I mean? So we got that. And then we've got this Bane figure. So this is a custom. This is what he originally looked like. You could buy him in the store. You could buy, he was like in a 2-pack with Batman, I think. And there's a local guy here that has a toy store called Haha Toys. His name is Manny, and he was at a toy show. This was like maybe 3 years ago. And he was showing this to me, and I was like, dude, I gotta have that. That is, whoever created that did an amazing job with it. So we've got that. I got some Spider-Man over there. We've got some Ecto-1. That is a newer one. That is not from the original Ghostbusters. And then we've got the HeMan lunchbox that I also purchased from Patrick, the USS Flag guy. And then we got some other stuff over there. There's Big Tex. We got a Boba Fett. And then over here, speaking of Patrick and Masters of the Universe, the very first thing I ever bought from him was the Castle Grayskull. So originally he reached out to me on the channel, sent me an email saying, hey Burf, I'm a local guy. I've been watching your videos and I've got some vintage toys maybe you might be interested in. And I said, sure, send me some pics. And he sent me a pic of this Castle Grayskull, and I got a near complete Grayskull. Like the only thing it was missing was the little pistol that comes with the armory, but I got it for $100. Like he gave me an amazing deal on it. And then I ended up buying Snake Mountain from him like a month later. So he had that. I picked that up for like $60. And this is my Masters of the Universe collection. These are pretty much all the figures that I had as a kid. There are some figures in here that I did not have. Like, I didn't have a Grizzlor. I wasn't really into like the Evil Horde and stuff like that, you know, like the She-Ra stuff. I did watch the She-Ra cartoon, but I wasn't really into the figures all that much when I was a kid. I was into the HeMan stuff, so I didn't really get into collecting the Horde and whatnot. Even though they did the Horde, Hordak and them, they did do some crossovers, and they were in Masters of the Universe cartoons and all that. I just pretty much stuck to Skeletor and Beastman and Merman and all those guys. But yeah, this is the collection, guys. And there's still more figures to add to it. Definitely pieces I didn't have as a kid that are now like considered grail pieces now. Like, I don't have a Scareglow. I don't have a King Randor. I don't have any Horde Troopers. I don't have a Sorceress, a vintage Sorceress. So those are all ones that I need. And I don't know, maybe some of you out there might have some extras and maybe you want to do a deal or, a trade. I'm always open to that. So, but anyway, yeah. So we've got these guys, and now let me show you this. Some of my carded Guts figures. I also have some James Bond Jr. figures. Here's a crazy story. I got 5 of these guys. I've already done some trades with people. I've got these 2 left on card, but I got 5 of these guys for $10. Let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Yeah, $10. $10 for 5 of these James Bond Jr. That is another fairly inexpensive line that you can collect. So I've got those guys, and I got some Double Dragon action over there, some Mega Force. Now let me show you my G.I. Joes. So here's my G.I. Joe collection, and I got a lot more. They're actually all in boxes. I need to buy more of these stands because sometimes these guys topple over, and when they do, everything goes like dominoes. You know what I mean? It kind of sucks when it happens, so I try to be really careful over in this area. But yeah, these are all the different Joes in my collection. I just found that Street Fighter Joe just the other day at the Goodwill bins, so you'll probably see him in an upcoming video. But check these guys out, man. Again, G.I. Joe was a line of toys in the cartoon. I mean, I couldn't get enough of it as a kid. My brother and I, we were real big into playing Army, so G.I. Joe was a big part of our life. And my parents were good to us as kids. So, when payday would hit and we'd go to the store, on the days that we wanted G.I. Joe, my mom would usually buy us sometimes 2 or 3 figures at once. And they were fairly cheap. They were $2.99, $3.99 a figure back in the day. But this one right here, Flash, he was one of my first ones. I think Breaker was my very first Joe that I owned, and then Flash might have been my second. So I've got these guys, and then up here we've got just a little hodgepodge of stuff. So I've got some Chuck Norris, some Battle Beasts, and then we've got some Centurions back here as well. I can't remember his name, but I always call him Tom Selleck because I feel like he looks like Tom Selleck. But we got Jake Rockwell here in the back that I just purchased for my friend Teresa. She found him in a thrift store. And then we got, what's the main guy's name? It'll come to me in a minute, but leave a comment below to help a brother out. So Ace McCloud, that's what it is, Ace McCloud. So I do have a pretty complete Ace McCloud as well. I've got a couple of him, actually. Got a couple of the Tom Selleck guys. I found this one in a thrift store, but his leg was broken, but it was in the bag, so I did glue them together. But Jake and this dude and Tom, they're missing their helmets, so I need some helmets for those guys. And then we've got not Visionaries. What are they called? Again, you guys can help me out. It'll come to me. But these things here, this toy line. I really liked I had a couple of these as a kid. I liked this Pharaoh and the Indian Chief. So I ended up purchasing those. And then we've got some Flash Gordon. And then, of course, the A-Team. Nothing sets off a toy collection like the A-Team. I love my A-Team figures. Again, I had all of these guys as a kid. So I got the 5.5 inch ones. I got some of the 375. I even have the A-Team headquarters, which I'll show you guys here in just a little bit. But we've got a bunch of sectars here in the back. We've got the hand puppet. Here's some of the ones here in the back. All incomplete, but just love having them in the line. There's Daniel LaRusso in the back there. Now these guys here, this is Faceman and Murdoch. These are Brigada A. They are Argentina bootleg A-Team figures, and I actually have a Hannibal and a BA coming in the mail on card that I just ordered recently. So I'll have to do an update video on that. I told you that you guys that I love bootlegs. Like here's a bootleg Rambo as well. So, and then I got these bootleg Mego guys here in the back. Holy cow, I got a good deal on them. I think I paid I think they were $40 a piece if I remember, but they're both, like all three of them, they're worth like $150 a piece. I got a good deal with that at Jaden's Toys. I don't think he knew what he had. I didn't even know what he had. I just thought they were cool and I bought them, and then I looked them up and I was like, oh my God, these things are worth a pretty penny. I do have a Murdoch on card back here. And then up above, we've got these guys. So we've got some of these Hasbro wrestling figures, which I told you guys that I kind of want to get into collecting some of those. I did buy an Ultimate Warrior a couple months back at the flea market. Now, I got him for $5, but I didn't realize his finger was busted off, but that's okay. He still looks cool. And then I've got all my LJN wrestling superstars. So there's a whole mess of these guys here. I even have the thumb wrestlers. But that Rowdy Roddy Piper, I found him in a thrift store. He was like in one of those really big bags. Not big bags, big boxes. He was like buried in the middle of the box. He even had his kilt with him. Let's see if I can get a little better. I'm having to stretch. Oh, there's Hillbilly Jim. I need his hat. And then in the very, very back, we've got Mr. Wonderful. There's another Rowdy back there. And Ricky Steamboat. And of course, the Macho Man. He was my favorite. Over here, I've got a mixture of Alien and Terminator stuff. There's a Rowdy Roddy Piper Bendy Fig autographed by Piper. My Iron Sheik is like falling off the wall. I gotta fix that. And then we got some thumb wrestlers back there. And then up here on the top shelf, in the back, you can't see them all that well, but there's some Planet of the Apes carded figures. And then I got a bunch of these army men. Like I told you guys before, like I love the big green army men. I love little green army men too, but those big ones are really cool. So I've got a nice little collection of those. And here's some Gremlins stuff that I have. I got this plush at a toy show for like $5. Picked him up at a place called Dirt Cheap. He's the newer one. This Bendy Fig, got him. And so this is Stripe, and then this is Stripe as a Mugwai. Got them both from a thrift store. And also these books, they've got records in them as well. So they do come with the records, and got those at Plaza Thrift. Over here, I've got some Ecto Squad pieces. I also have some Sky Commanders. I can't remember what these guys are called. Maybe you guys know. Same with these guys here. A lot of people mistake these for mask figures, but they're not, even though they are about the same size and scale. So these Ecto Squad figures, I actually traded a bunch of Marvel Toy Biz figures that I picked up at an estate sale for like I don't know, $5 a piece or something like that. They were dirt cheap, and traded them to a local guy and a friend of mine named Chaz, who was like, had a bunch of these Ecto Squads and was like, hey dude, I'll trade you for some of those Toy Biz figures. So we did a trade, I think back in December. So I've got those, and then down here, I've got the Fisher-Price Adventure People. And this is just some of the collection. I've got others, like I said, like in boxes. So, but I love this line. This is a really cool line of toys as well. And then down here, I've got some of my Dungeons and Dragons, both new and old. So I've got some vintage stuff in here like these guys. And I've got some of the cartoon figures, the cartoon from back in the 80s, which is an amazing cartoon, by the way, guys. If you haven't watched any of those old Dungeons and Dragons cartoons, there are full episodes on YouTube that you can watch, and they are just absolutely fantastic. So I got some of the new stuff and some of the vintage stuff. Here's that horse that I found recently at Goodwill. So I got these guys, and then down here, I've got this vintage alien mech suit. I can't remember what that suit's called, but I've got that. That is from the 90s. And then I've got my Punk Spider-Man in the back. I do have some Reaction Joes. I did not pay full price for these. I paid $5 or less for these because I refuse to pay like the $21 that they're asking for them at Target. I just wait for them to show up somewhere else at cheaper prices. Jaden Toys had a bunch of these during Christmas that he had, like, you know, originally only for $10, and then they were like 50% off. So I picked up a bunch of them. I've got my Speed Racer car, the Mach 5. How cool is that? So, and then we got Speed and Trixie and Chim Chim in the vehicle, and then we got what is it? Inspector Detector, I think his name is. So we got him, and then check it out. It's your boy Burf. It's your boy Burf as a G.I. Joe. How cool is this? We can focus in here. There we go. Yeah, I had somebody at the G.I. Joe show last summer scan my face. I was a little chubbier back then, and he made a G.I. Joe action figure out of me. So how awesome is that? I actually just did the face sculpt. That's Duke's body, by the way. I just replaced the head on it. All right, so we got these guys, and then I have this closet over here. This is a space that I just have like overflow stuff in. So I've got just, you know, there's a bunch of Final Faction figures in there, Transformers, we got some TMNT, and then we got all this stuff down here. This is probably one of my favorite pieces, advertising displays, but I don't have any place to put it at the moment. So I need to kind of get things cleaned up a little bit and make some things a priority. I'd love to be able to display this versus just having it sit here in the closet. So I've got this AT-AT. I found it at Goodwill. And then here are some of the Jurassic Park plush. These were the plush that appeared in the gift store in the film. So I've got those. And then here are some of my really, really old Army figures. So that's Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propagandist, and Adolf Hitler himself. And here's a German vehicle. But these are all like from these figures here, for the most part, are World War I figures. So these are German figures from World War I. These are British troops back here. This is World War II, obviously. But again, this is just a small fraction of the collection I have on these. I have a pretty extensive collection of these, and I have dioramas, displays, and all that stuff like that. I just don't have room to display all of it right now. But this is some of the other stuff that I have. And then I've got these Pizza Hut hand puppets up here, which I think are really cool. And then that talking Yoda. That's a real Ghostbusters case in the back. That box with the turtle insignia on it there, it's got, it's just filled with turtle accessories. Oh, and here is a Fisher-Price Firehouse, and I use it for my more modern Ghostbusters. So, you know, and all these little figures. This was a cool line. I really enjoyed collecting this line, but this little Fisher-Price Firehouse, it goes really well with everything. Oh, and I almost forgot this case. So I actually purchased this case off of my friend and fellow YouTuber, JPhillyRetro. Go check his channel out when you get a chance. I'll link them in the description below. But I bought this case off of him, and I do have Transformers inside of it. So I got some Transformers and some GoBots. Again, these aren't really like super valuable ones or anything like that, but I just needed a place to put them. But I love this case. I mean, how amazing is that case? It is so cool. I also have this claw, and unfortunately, I've tried putting some batteries in it, and it doesn't really work. So someone told me to just go get Duracell batteries, and they're probably a little more powerful than the Dollar Tree ones I'm using, and it should maybe light up. So that would be awesome if I could get this thing to work. If not, it'll just make for a cool display. But again, I picked this up at a Goodwill with my wife the very first time she ever went thrifting with me. So normally when I go to the thrift stores, she just stays in the car. But she actually went into the stores with me on this particular adventure, and this is what I scored that day. So this has a really special memory for me. And over here is where I have some of my turtle overflow. So I found this bin at Thrift Giant a couple of years ago, and I was like, man, that would be perfect to put all of my extra TMNT in and any overflow that I have. So it works perfect for it. I think it's a fun little bin to, you know, store your stuff in. This mosquito dude, I can't remember his name, but my brother recently found this in a toy shop in Pennsylvania for $7. Like, he's very incomplete, but even at that, like, he's worth a lot more than $7. I do have a near complete one over here, and I found him almost 4 years ago in a thrift store, and he was fairly incomplete, but I ended up buying some of the extra accessories to start putting him back together. So this is again some of my other TMNT stuff. You know, I'd like to be able to put this stuff on better display, especially like this this plane. You know, again, incomplete, still needs some parts and stuff, but you know, to be able to maybe hang some string and hang it from the ceiling, make it look like it's flying, I think that would be cool. My Goody Will gang member Aaron Wolf recently did a trade with me for this giant Leo, which is super cool. He's from like 1988 or 89. And down here I've got some more TMNT vehicles. I've got the tractor, I've got the pizza thrower, and then this is that Frisbee I was telling you about earlier that looks just like the yo-yo. So found that in a thrift store too. Over here we got another bootleg HeMan. I've got some Batman and Robin. I found the Batmobile at a yard sale for $10. I think I paid for it. So these are modern Mego. We've got the Joker in the back. We've got Penguin. My friend Keith gifted me the Batman and Robin. And I showed you guys these already. Up here, oh no, we have some figures that fell over. So let me see if I can stand these guys up without knocking them over again. So we've got some of the Princess Bride figures that I picked up at Ross during the Christmas season and in the earlier part of this year. Up here, we've got some bootleg wrestlers and some more modern stuff here in the back. But I love the bootlegs, man. I think this guy here looks like Danny Trejo. And but these things are pretty amazing. And then over here, we've got some Dino Riders. Again, for the most part, these were all found in a thrift store, except for this Triceratops. My friend Eltanda gifted that to me recently. And then down here, we've got some Sinclair dinos. These things are worth a pretty penny, by the way. Like this T-Rex is like reselling for like $70. They're from like the 1950s. I got this Harry Potter 3-headed dog. And then I got this alien dissection monster. My Goody Will Ganger, my Goody Will Gang member, Trent Udi. He gifted me a few of these Godzillas. I've got him on display here. And then down below, we've got some more Masters of the Universe. And down here, we've got some Rat Fink. And I can't remember what these guys are called, but they're awesome. They're so awesome. I love them. And then we got some of these guys here. Got some baseball and football players in the back, some old school stuff. And then up above, we've got some extreme dinosaurs and some street sharks. I even have this awesome street shark hand puppet that I picked up a little while back. How cool is that guy? But yeah, I've got Moby Lick and the rest of the gang here. This Stegs, I actually found him in a thrift store. But the rest of them I got from my Goody Will Gang member, Trent Udi. So Trent hooked it up. So, you know, that's the benefits of being a gang member, is that gang members take care of each other. And he really gave me an awesome deal on the rest of these extreme dinosaurs. So I would highly recommend you guys become Goody Will Gang members. And the way you do that is by purchasing a t-shirt or a hat from the 80's Toys Rock store just below this video. When you do that, you get lifetime access to our private Facebook group, which is growing every single week with new gang members. So I would highly recommend that, because it's a great place to network and get great deals on stuff that people are willing to trade or sell. So I got all of these. I even have some trading cards over here. My friend Travis, Travis McBride, he actually sold me all of these Earthworm Jim figures. I think they have like all of their accessories and all their little sidekicks and stuff like that. Like, for the most part, it was a complete, these figures were complete, and I got them all for like $100. So it was a really, really good deal. So Travis, if you're watching, thanks for hooking that up. And then I got some Police Academy stuff here in the back, which I really enjoy that line. Would like to collect more of that. And then up here, I've got my Pirates of Darkwater figures. This guy is not Pirates of Darkwater. He's just like a knockoff Trap Jaw, basically, is what he's supposed to be. But I've got these Pirates of Darkwater figures that I think are just so amazing. And like, I didn't even know Pirates of Darkwater existed until about 3 or 4 years ago. And I saw somebody do a video on them on YouTube, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta have those figures. I just think they're so freaking cool. So these pirate ships that I got them on, this is actually a Pirates of the Caribbean ship. I don't know what this goes to, but I did find it in a thrift store. But some of these guys are not Pirates of Darkwater, like this guy right here, this guy in the back, and then this guy. But I thought they'd make good crew members, so I put them on. And this guy here, it's funny, like his pants actually lift up, and then you push that little button and his pants drop, and you can see his undershorts, his underwear. But how cool are these? And then this Voltron guy, I picked him up for $1 at a flea market. So I got a great deal on that. And then down here, I've got some Care Bear stuff. So my mom's friend Barb actually gifted me this Care Bear case. And this one over here, I found at Texas Thrift. So Barb gifted me this case with all of these Care Bears. But I have found some Care Bears in thrift stores over the years that are inside this case. Got a Mr. Potato Head. We've got some Gummy Bears. That was another cartoon that I watched a lot as a kid. And then we also have some Lazy Town figures over here. And of course, how could we forget the purple Pie Man? Down here on this shelf, we've got some loose Captain Power figures. We've also got some Battlestar Galactica. We've got Buck Rogers. We've got Flash Gordon. And then these are those James Bond Jr. figures I was telling you guys about earlier. So I've got some of those loose as well. We've got Captain Planet and Duke Nukem. Visionaries here in the back. And I'm just now remembering those other figures that I couldn't remember earlier are Supernaturals. Forgot. So I knew it would come to me. But we got a Bigfoot, we got Kong and Godzilla, and then over here we've got, I believe this is from the Hercules line, and then we got like a knockoff, maybe like Galaxy Warrior or something. And then we got this guy back here. I put him on this Hollywood Hulk Hogan chopper, which I think he looks cool on. And then we got some more Terminator here in the back. Down below on this shelf, I've got most of my Marvel stuff. I've got a Hellboy, which my brother gifted to me at Christmas time. Spider-Man, Thing, and Hulk. Like, you can tell that I like Spider-Man, Thing, and Hulk. I've got a lot of those types of figures. So not a big Marvel or DC collector, but I do like Spider-Man, Hulk, and Thing. And then over here, we've got the Matthew Broderick Inspector Gadget from Burger King, a vintage Pocket Simon. And then up here, we have some Cowboys of Moon Mesa. So check these guys out. I got, I think, like 6 of these initially off of Facebook Marketplace for like 40 bucks. So got a pretty good deal on them, I think. And then these are Cowboys of Moon Mesa, like shampoo dispensers or something, or bubble bath stuff, something like that. So I really dig this line. This was another line, like just with the Pirates of Dark Water. I didn't know these existed until maybe like a couple years ago. Here's the Mad Scientist pack I just picked up at a yard sale last week. And then down here, probably one of my favorite lines is the Heathcliffs. I love Heathcliff. Again, a cartoon I watched all the time when I was a kid. I liked Heathcliff more than I liked Garfield. Although I did like Garfield, I just liked Heathcliff more. And I got this. This is a game. It's like a little house play set. It opens up and it has like a board, like a game board on it. It came with like these little pieces, like Spike and Sonia, and then this little Heathcliff back here. But these other PVC figures I have picked up over the years. I got some wind-up toys. And then this Jeep, I bought this Jeep a couple of years ago. It's from Spain. That's why it says Isidoro. I guess that's Heathcliff in Spanish. Isidoro and Sonia. I think it's supposed to have a Sonia figure, but all I got was the Heathcliff with it. But this Jeep, I have never seen it come up on market or on eBay since I bought it. This was the only time and the only Jeep I've ever seen, and I snagged it as soon as it popped up, and I have not seen one since. So I feel really lucky to have picked this up. And then I've got this plush, and then I've got this one, and one of these was actually gifted to me for one of my subscribers as well. And I got some stickers, and yeah, this is my Heathcliff collection, guys. I freaking love me some Heathcliff. And if you guys remember, not too long ago, I found these My Little Ponies in a thrift store, the whole set. And I even found these dishes in little cups at the thrift store. And I found the thermos. So this whole little set up here all found in a thrift store. And then here is one of my favorite vintage dinos. I just think it's the way his mouth and stuff is shaped is just kind of funny. He's like a brontosaurus and got like these T-Rex style teeth. Sorry, that's a little blurry, but yeah, there we go. But look at that. So I got that, and then over here, yeah, I got some little piggy banks and stuff like that. This is Hanna-Barbera cartoon stuff. And again, the Heathcliff, and here's one of the books. So here's the Alf plush that I found at a thrift store in Pennsylvania with my mom. And this was a really special moment for me too, because this is all I ever talked about in my videos for the longest time, is I just want to find an Alf plush and a My Pet Monster. And I ended up finding the Alf and was super, super jazzed up about it. So I got him. Here is the Cobra Terradrome that I purchased from my friend Patrick in that giant lot I got with the flag. Like I got this and everything else for like $700. It still needs cleaned up. My buddy Clutch said that he would help me do that. I just need to carve out some time and make that happen. But it's just been sitting here since January. Really dusty, really dirty, definitely needs a good scrub down. And then we're going to try and like see if we can whiten it up. But how cool is this thing? So I sold the flag and the Defiant to my friend, Dr. Elra Morgan, and decided I wanted to keep this Terradrome. I didn't want to get rid of it. So I got this, and then I also got this Night Raven in that deal as well. This thing is so cool. Not something I owned as a kid, but really, really happy to own it now. In addition to the Night Raven, I also got this Sky Striker off of Patrick. Now, this was not in the original deal. I actually bought this from him like 2 years ago. And it needs, again, a heavy-duty cleaning. This was basically a barn find. This thing was like sitting in his parents' shed, basically a barn, for like 35 years. And it needs a real good scrub down. I just got to be careful because I don't want any of the stickers coming off. And I haven't really taken the time, again, to carve out the time to clean it up and whatnot. But I do think it looks kind of cool just the way it is. You know what I mean? And it's like... it's kind of like how, like, if you stumbled upon an F-16 now, like in a barn, like an old military F-16, like this is probably what it would look like, you know? It'd be like all dusty and shit, you know? But anyway, I did get a Sky Striker from him too. And how could I forget the Tomahawk? Oh man, this was like my brother's favorite Joe vehicle when he was a kid. He owned the Tomahawk. Like my mom bought it for him. I got some other vehicles and stuff, but I remember she bought him a Tomahawk and he used to play with that thing all the time. We actually shared toys, but like he really loved this Tomahawk. And here's Dusty manning the machine gun, you know, ready to take out Cobra the enemy. But how cool is that thing, man? Oh, I love it. Oh, I did want to show you this too. So my friend Dave, I call him Big Dave. Big Dave actually gave me this Godzilla, this Shogun Godzilla, as a gift. When he found out that I had purchased a Shogun and, you know, finally made one of my Grail dreams come true, he said he picked this up like at a comic show or something like that. And he's like, when I saw it, man, I thought of you and I just had to give it to you. So even had the artist sign it to Chris. So Dave, man, if you're watching, brother, thank you so much for this. This was truly epic. So over here, I've got like a shelf of smalls. I've got some Kool-Aid Man stuff. And, you know, I've got this Cracker Jack box. That's an old Cracker Jack box that I found at a place called Support Your Troops. I paid a few bucks for it. I thought it was cool. Got some Kool-Aid Man, like popsicle makers. Got this thermos. Got the little grenade and just some smalls, you know, like little Mickey D's toys and PVC and stuff like that. And here's the Pink Panther. And then over here, oh, by the way, this is my Jaws, and you can see he's about to swallow these little dudes here. And then over here, I've got another shelf of like more modern Indiana Jones stuff. My Jones fell off the shelf somewhere, and I cannot find him. So there's that missing space. We're looking for a missing Dr. Jones. I did pick up some of these figures at Target. They had gone on sale. Like everything in this line, I don't know what that Tonka dude is doing in there. This is supposed to be all Indiana Jones stuff. But that Indiana Jones stuff, like pretty much as soon as the movie came out, you know, it kind of flopped, and then they put everything on clearance like right away. So But this is another shelf of Indiana Jones that I have. These are all retro figures, by the way. These are all those new ones that came out last year. They are not the vintage versions. And this is just like a shelf that I have some like VHS on, but I also have some other figures. I've got these American Gladiators. I've got Clubber Lang. I've got the Biker Mice from Mars. I got like these little minis of them. I don't know who this dude is. I think he's some sort of Marvel guy. And then down here, I've got another Mr. T, Smokey the Bear. We got a McDonald's lunchbox. I can't remember what this guy's name is, but he kind of reminds me of like a Rat Fink type of character. And he's awesome. Here is a tiger that my wife customized and painted to look like Battle Cat, you know, but unfortunately doesn't have the mask or the saddle or anything like that. But I thought she did a really, really good job with that. Got some Transformers here. This thing is really cool. This was actually gifted to me. Who remembers these little puzzles when you were a kid, man? These things are awesome, and really love the subject matter. Mr. T is a favorite figure of mine from the 80s. And then down here, we've got some more VHS, Beetlejuice. We got a Superman. I think Keith gifted that to me as well. Here's a big Biker Mice from Mars, a Merlin. I found him at a place called what's it called? The Children's Place or something like that. And yeah, it was like, I was really surprised to find him in there. This orange teddy bear that is missing a nose. I told Nicole I wanted to replace his nose, but that teddy bear is as old as me. I got it the day I was born, and it is 48 years old now. How crazy is that? So it's one of the few things that survived my childhood. And then over here, we've got some hand puppets that I picked up at a toy show recently. I think they are Mr. Rogers hand puppets. Speaking of Mr. T, here's a Mr. T board game that I have from Milton Bradley. And I've got the A-Team Combat Headquarters. Yes, I do have the Combat Headquarters. So I've got the figures, and it's like 99% complete. I think it's like missing one thing. Well, actually, it's missing one parachute and I think like a tripod or something like that for a machine gun. But other than that, it's got everything else. So this is a pretty rare piece and one that I am extremely grateful for to have in my collection. So I found this TMNT like little mini couch at Goodwill. And here are some of the plushes that I've got these little Alf hand puppets. I think they were Wendy's or Burger King. Oh, Burger King they were. So I got those Monchi cheese. Anybody have any Monchi cheese when you were a kid? So I've got these little plushies, this ET over here. Here's a helicopter that I just found a few days ago at Goodwill. We've got this King Kong over here and this giant like fly looking thing. I think someone told me that's like maybe part of the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Over here, I've got some of my Smurf collection. You can see I've got, you know, the Smurf houses, and then this little booklet, which is awesome. You kind of like see the person that owned it before, which was my mom's friend Barb. These are her daughter's childhood Smurfs that she saved all of these years. You can see they circled which ones they needed and checked off which ones that they didn't have, you know. And then here's some more shelving. Yeah, that's Bruce Lee right there. I got some more like, not shelving, but like container units. A lot of these are like smalls, like Burger King, McDonald's, toys, stuff. There's like, you know, the Flintstone houses and whatnot. We got some figures over here like the Tick and some more Mickey D stuff. And then down here are just bins of Smurfs. So Barb had gifted me like over 100 Smurfs. So this is where a lot of them are kept. And, you know, I put all of these ones on display. And then over here is a little shelf of books. And you can see I've got like Dick Tracy and some turtle stuff, the Berenstain Bears. We got some comic books. And then we got like the Sears wish list stuff. So we've got that. And then over here, we've got some Mickey D's glasses. And we've got Garfield and the Getalong gang. We've got some more Masters of the Universe there in the back. Down below, I've got some Predator, and we got some Burger King glasses back there that you can't really see. Let's see if we can get these sea monkeys out of the way. There we go. So we got some Burger King glasses, E.T. So, you know, just some fun stuff like that over here. You know, I've got some Flash Gordon here in the back, some Jet Jaguar, more E.T. glasses. Speaking of E.T., there's a little cup. We got some Peanuts and some Smurfs over here as well. I love this rocker skunk. I think he's pretty cool. And over here, we've got some of my horror collection. So this isn't everything. I've got stuff that's like in boxes and stuff. Like I said, I don't have room to display everything. But I wanted to show these two because these are some of my favorites. So these guys here, these are actually from this movie here called Mad Monster Party. Let me move this out of the way. So I found this DVD. I found the DVD after I had purchased these guys from Eric over at Horror Freak, which is a horror store over in Bedford, Texas. So give those guys a look-see as well. They got some really awesome stuff, and they just expanded their store. But I bought these off of Eric, and he gave me a super, super good deal on them. And I was like, oh yeah, they're from that movie. So I got some other stuff back here. Here's some stretch screamers here in the back. So we got some of those. And then down below, we've got Bucky O'Hare. We've got the Stone Protectors. And we've got Santa Claus. And Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer type of stuff, right? And then we've got Richard Scary figures. So these things are actually worth a little bit of money. I didn't realize it. I found them in a thrift store and looked them up, and I was like, holy cow, like I should get these. So I got those, and then we've got some of the Shadow figures down here, and I got some Batman and Robin and stuff here in the back. And then over here we got some Last Action Hero. And I don't know who this dude is. I think he's some sort of Marvel character, but thought he was cool. And then we've got Kurt Russell from Big Trouble in Little China. And then I thought as an honorable mention, I would show you just a brief overview of Nicole's shelf. So these are just some of the things that Nicole likes to collect. She likes monster trucks. Who would have thunk? Pretty girl like her into big mean monster trucks, you know? So she's got that. And then these, she's got the She-Ra in the background. Some of this stuff is stuff that I actually found for her in thrift stores. And some of it is just stuff that she purchased herself from stores. Here's a couple of Care Bears. So her favorite Care Bear is Tenderheart. Mine is Funshine. So that's why we've got those two together. Here's some Smurfs that I gave her. And then down here is some more stuff. Check out this Monster High right here. Hey, look how big your boy Burf was, man. That was a big boy. But yeah, we got some Monster High stuff here as well. Some Lego. Here's her Scooby-Doo Lego set. She likes scary stuff too, Nicole. She likes, you know, horror things, you know, like not like super like gross and stuff like that, but you know, like Five Nights at Freddy's, Scooby-Doo, like that type of scary stuff, you know. There is a Willy Wonka. She's also a Willy Wonka fan. And then here's some other stuff. And of course, here's another Fisher-Price Adventure People vehicle that I got. My friend Altanda picked this up for me at a St. Vinny de Paul. I found this suitcase on Facebook Marketplace, which I thought was pretty epic. And here's a Luke Skywalker in a Stormtrooper outfit and Darth Vader. These guys, I think, are like 30 inches tall. They're big ones, and they're pretty awesome. I have thought about getting rid of these on a few different occasions because they take up, you know, a good bit of space. They're pretty large. But I just couldn't do it. Couldn't pull the trigger on it. So they're still here. All right, guys. This is the last room. And like I told you, we've got stuff like all the stuff in the blue and the pink boxes. That's all Nicole's stuff. So you can see, like, I mean, she's got Five Nights at Freddy's, just like all the different Funkos. And there's like, here's all Five Nights at Freddy's action figures. She's real big into the Five Nights, you know? And then she's got like tons of Shopkins, more Funkos. So a lot of this stuff is hers. And then my stuff is like in these types of boxes. And you can see like there's just stuff everywhere. So, and then, you know, this is some stuff I was pulling out. These are, I've been thinking about doing a whatnot sale. And I've got a bunch of Star Wars and stuff like that I can get rid of. I even have this Wind Raider. I've got, like, I'm not getting rid of that. And I'm not getting rid of the Dukes thing. I need to get the General Lee here. I need to get a top for it. But the Star Wars stuff, I'm thinking about doing a big whatnot sale with. And then we've got some other stuff. You can see, like, you know, we just have a lot of stuff and just no place to put everything. So it ends up in this extra storage room, and at some point I got to do something with it. Well, hey guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I hope you really truly enjoyed the tour of the bunker. If you did, do me a favor, smash that like button, and if you want to watch more videos just like this, then check out this next video.